Chelsea Football Club are looking for a new manager to replace Maurizio Pochettino in the summer, and the shortlist has been released. Ruben Amorim and De Zerbi are both top of that table from the people that we know. We're all going to talk about the pros and cons regarding both managers. We're going to look at the little details, we're going to look at their past careers, and we're going to see who we would prefer to go on. On this channel, I'm telling you now, I am going to be as objective as possible because I have certain criteria I believe should be filled. However, I will give you my opinion and you can take the information I provide and go forward and form your own opinion. I'm here to educate, I'm here to inform, and more importantly, I'm here to give you a platform where you can have your friendly debates in the comments below. Nobody's going to call you names because even if you want Pochin, it's welcome here. We're all respectful. We're a community. Bratuki, we are brothers and sisters here and we will grow together. So what I want from all of you, number one, hit the like button. Number two, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy it. Number three, make it super interactive for yourself. Let me know who would be your preference. And sit back, grab yourself some popcorn because I'm about to drop some facts. Let's get into it. I want to start with De Zerbi first and then we'll go into Ruben Amorim. So we're going to start with the pros of De Zerbi. I think we need to look at the jobs that De Zerbi's had, right? De Zerbi had 7 jobs in his career, but we're going to look at the last 3. And I think the reason we're going to look at the last 3 is from 2018 to present day, that's around 4 or 5 years, like 6 years actually. Bloody hell, we're in 2024. That's 6 years worth of work. Sassuolo, he won 43 games and had 36% win rate. A lot of people are going to say that's really bad, Alex. That's not good enough for Chelsea, 36%. You need to understand the level of club Sassuolo is. Sassuolo, in my opinion, is West Ham level of a club. They're a developmental club. He then got an opportunity to go to Shakhtar. Shakhtar is arguably the best team in Ukraine. He got 20 wins there, 67% win rate, and more importantly, he left not because he was fired, but because of everything that happened. Google what happened during the time that he left, all right? YouTube doesn't like it when I talk about it. So we'll move on. He joined Brighton and has got a 47% win rate. For me, this is an advantage. Without a doubt, 47% at Brighton is phenomenal. Graham Potter had 33. Yes, the sample size isn't massive, but it's 35 wins. It's the last 16 of the Europa League, and we don't know how far he's going to go. He's working on a small budget, developing youngsters, and more importantly, he is got a lot of injuries. I think you cannot underestimate how many injuries this man has had to face. Almost as many as Maurizio Pochettino at Chelsea. So now we need to start talking about the other positives. I think the style of play is imperative. His style of play is positive, it's easy on the eye, and it also gives you what? The entertainment factor. Guys, we watch football for entertainment. We watch football to enjoy it. Well, at least that's what I do. So from my perspective, this is a massive advantage. He enables players to take bravery and ability to show on their platform what they can do. And for me, that is imperative to develop young players and more importantly, encourage ballers to perform on the pedestal. It's what we've seen in the past and we're lacking these days. Yes, it's an automated system. And this is the second thing. He is a coach's coach. And I think this is so important for the current squad that we have. He is a coach's coach. He will tell them about the areas they need to stand in the pitch, how far they need to be from their nearest teammate, which box, because he breaks up the box. If those of you haven't seen the clip of Kevin Prince Boateng on Rio Ferdinand's podcast talking about this, he said everything is broken down into grids. You know what grid you need to be in when your teammate receives the ball because you're a passing option. Your teammate shouldn't have to look to know where you are. And for me, this is coaching that an Enzo Fernandez, that a Moises Caicedo, that a Romeo Lavia will really relish. They're players that are technically gifted. Now you're giving them a platform to tactically develop. This is something that Chelsea's all-round team will relish from, in my opinion. Then we need to talk about the fact that he knows the league. Knowing the league is actually underrated. A lot of people say, you know what, it doesn't matter because if you're a good manager, you come in, you hit the ground running. Granted, you need to be a good manager to come in and hit the ground running. But I think understanding the demands of the Prem is a big factor. And a lot of people don't take this into account when they ask for the next manager. Coming into a new league and knowing Okay, today we're going Burnley away. Okay, after that we're going Fulham at home, and then we're going West Ham away. That's a tough one. I might need to rest my players here and there because the demands of traveling or the demands of doing this, demands of doing that. That is just know-how. That is experience. This is a bonus that De Zerbi has over other managers that are being linked to the job. And this needs to be, I think, needs to be respected. Then we need to talk about the next thing. His work at Brighton is absolutely brilliant. 47%, an FA Cup semi-final, qualification to the Europa League directly, his ability to win the group in the Europa League, his ability to develop players and sell them on is something that needs to be looked at. Yes, when we speak about Amorim, and Amorim's got a 70% win rate at Sporting and a 77% win rate at Braga, people are going to say, look at that, that is a Chelsea manager. Yes, but look at what De Zerbi's working with. You're only as good as your tools. Sometimes you can use your tools in certain ways to get more out of them, but after a certain point, these tools have ceilings. These tools have limits. He is exerting, in my opinion, the most out of the players that he currently has at his disposal. I guarantee you, when these players retire, 90% of them will say this is one of the greatest coaches I've had in my career. For 90% of them, it's going to be a statement like, look at Lewis Dunk. Sit Lewis Dunk down and ask him to compare all the managers he's worked with. I guarantee you De Zerbi will be top 1 or 2. This is how well of a manager he is. He has developed Dunk into a quality player on the ball. To the point where he goes to England, he's getting penalised for being too brave playing out of the back. Southgate doesn't want him to do what he does under De Zerbi. He doesn't want him to invite pressure on and then pass. He wants him to be safer on the ball. But De Zerbi has developed him to the next level. And I think that is very important to take into account. And finally, this is the big one. I think sometimes you can smell that it's the manager's time now. You look at the clubs he's been linked with other than Chelsea. Liverpool. Liverpool at this moment in time are a bigger proposition than Chelsea. They just really are. There's no debate. Barcelona, if they could pay the financial ramifications of getting him out of his contract, they would be doing it. They would be paying that 13 million to get him out of his contract to make sure that he becomes their manager. He is linked with them, and Chelsea fans are refusing to acknowledge this. Bayern Munich have got executives that are looking at him intensely. If, when Tuchel leaves, Alonso doesn't want the job, De Zerbi will be up for grabs. You need to understand the type of manager we are working with here. There are so many positives in this gentleman that we need to be honest. However, where there are positives, nobody's perfect. There are negatives, and we need to be honest. When De Zerbi's teams lose, they get slapped. Like, it's not a coincidence that they get slapped when they lose. And part of the reason is they're very gung-ho. Everything is based on, we are going to be technically better than you. One-on-one type defending, one-on-one type attacking. We will move the ball around, isolate you into a position where I have my winger against your fullback. He will beat you either by moving the ball quickly around you in a passing motion, or he will take you on physically and just dribble past you. But we're going to overload the box, meaning we're left exploited in the middle, and you can have a direct transition on us. This happens, and we have seen evidence of this. West Ham has done it to them twice. Chelsea have done it to them twice this year. The elements of De Zerbi's game are beautiful. Structure off the ball, absolutely horrible at times. Too exposed, too left open, far too vulnerable, leaving your centre-backs in a position where they need to act now or forever hold their peace. It's actually really worrying. The next one, he has a poor record at jobs prior to Sassuolo. And I'll be honest, this is because I think working with lower quality players at a lower level where they need to grind it out, trying to implement his philosophies would be difficult to do. But it's the reality. He's got 20% win rates. He's got 7% win rates. And yes, this is 7 jobs, right, worth of data. And some of them he was only there for 30 games. But if you got a 7% win rate and a 20% win rate, broski, you're not going to stay in a job long enough. You're really not. And the fact that he's recovered from it might be a positive, but it's something that we need to be honest about. His winning, he hasn't won much in his career. He's got 1 Super Cup. And I think he's got one cup as well somewhere. Hasn't won much in his career. And that could be a problem because Chelsea need to be attracting coaches that know how to win. Especially after a Maurizio Pochettino. Especially after a Graham Potter. The fans are demanding that. This is something, it's an intangible that fans will demand. know how to win. I don't think that is such a big factor, and I don't think it's something that we should be putting a lot of emphasis onto. However, it's something the fans will, and the minute things go wrong, think they're going to be very, very harsh, and it worries me. And finally, the big one, the PR standpoint. Chelsea have done a lot of business with Brighton to the point where it's a running joke, right? Let's not pretend it's not. People are saying, ooh, Brighton B, ooh, Bowley should have bought Brighton, ooh, why didn't they just purchase Brighton in the first place? The reality is, and this is the big one, from a PR standpoint, he needs to come in and hit the ground running, because the jokes are writing themselves, the fan pressure is writing itself, and it's an uphill battle for him. Those are the considerations that we need to take into account. I think Ruben Amorim is a very interesting individual to get into the club, and preferably this would be my selection. However, I would have no issue with De Zerbi coming in. The positive of Ruben has a track record of developing young players. He has developed Mateus Nunes, he has developed Paulinho, he has developed Diamonde, Victor Gyökeres, Marcus Edwards, Nuno Santos, Quaresma now, Inacio. We're getting a lot of examples of young players under him that have developed and become so much better that they're all being linked with big clubs. It's a matter of time until Sporting lose them due to the selling nature of the club. He has got a very interesting and unique style of play. 3 at the back, wide fullbacks, 2 midfielders that just demand the ball at all times but are always moving around just to become a third passing option or a second passing option in every move. So they have to be mobile and comfortable on the ball, and the ability to switch play really suits them. I think Enzo and Caicedo would flourish in the system, as well as Santos and Lavia. The other thing that we need to look at him is his winning record. Yes, he's got a 77% winning record at Braga, but that comes from 10 wins. 10 wins at 13 games, and then Sporting jumped at the chance to pay the money. They got him out of his contract, 10 million euros straight away, and he's gone there, and to be fair, he hasn't disappointed. 70% win rate, 142 games won. You have a big sample size of an individual winning games. So we've got 4 years of experience at one club of where we can see what he's built now to what he's built before. And what I find most interesting about that is the fact that he's won 4 trophies on separate occasions in different individual seasons, and now he's going into a season where he could do a treble. That for me is really interesting. That's a strong positive in his direction. I think Sporting is a club where the expectation is to win, and the fact that he's got 70% win rate there, it's almost a comparison to what De Zerbi had at Shakhtar, where he was getting a 67% win rate. And to be fair, if you would extrapolate the games across, there's no much of a difference between 67 and 70%, right? It literally is. At uni, you get a first, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? I think if you extended De Zerbi's season because he left due to unmitigated circumstances, it weren't his fault that he had to leave. I think he would have a similar record to Amorim in terms of wins, and maybe he wouldn't have gone to Brighton and wouldn't have that experience, but the wins at Brighton, in my opinion, 47% win rate is highly respected. I wouldn't look down on that. So I wouldn't give too much props for Ruben for the 70% win rate, but it is impressive. The other thing I need to think that is very impressive is winning trophies. The ability to get over the edge when Porto and Benfica are in the league is something that I think you have to respect. It's something that proves that he, on the big occasion, cup final, he can coach a winning team. On the big occasions, when the mentalities are up and the pressure is mounting on you to see out the victory for the league, he does his job. He's there, he's defending. And more importantly, he's got top flight experience. Like, the pressure of being top of the table or battling for the league is different from a mid-table battle, is different from a relegation battle. There are some managers, in my opinion, that wouldn't be able to compete at the relegation level due to the fact that they just got different quality of players. He has proven he could guide a team to the top level. And for me, that is imperative. For Chelsea now to rebuild, we need somebody that has a proven record to do that, but at the same time, coaching philosophy. Him and De Zerbi are in the same camp. They are both obsessive over tactics. They are obsessive over empowering their players, and they are obsessive over a system working in the way they envision it. But you have freedom to make some decisions, because in his system, there are multiple ways you can go forward. It doesn't have to be, okay, you pass to player one, pass to player two. It can be you pass to 3, 4, or 5, but then from there, we need to have alternatives how to fix it. And this is just interesting. The negatives. The back three system is one that a lot of people don't like. They say that it is out of date, it's negative. You, as a team that is taking the game towards other people, low blocks, you should be able to suffice with 2 centre-backs, and more importantly, a DM that drops in to make the 3 if needed, especially because you need an extra attacker. Another thing that I think is not good, he doesn't know the UK. I've told you, the fact that we don't know whether his tactics will translate to the UK is different. Like, I think Alex from the Athletic made a really good point. The way he plays is really impressive. However, and this is a big however, will it translate to another league purely based on the fact that the quality of individuals he has in this league, in Liga NOS, in Portugal, is so far better than everyone else's? So when it comes to it, will it translate? Will the teams in Portugal that don't punish him get punished in England? Will West Ham punish him? Would Aston Villa punish him? The throwback I have to that is we've seen Arsenal and Spurs not be able to punish him across 4 games. Like, they've ended as 4 draws, I think, if I'm not mistaken, where Sporting had the lion's share of possession and were the better team in 3 of them. Because I've watched those 3 games. I really enjoyed them. But the final thing that I think is very important is Ruben, there are arguments that is very one-dimensional. It's either his way or the highway. He'll adjust his tactics, but it still has to be on his ground. It has to be on his terms. And is that something that is going to be his downfall? Or is that going to be perceived as something that is a strength? I'm going to put it in the weakness, because we haven't seen him implement these tactics outside of Sporting. Because Braga 10 games doesn't count for me. I'm sorry, it doesn't. So it's still an unknown. It's an uncertainty. But one thing we can say is, both these managers are fully qualified. Both these managers deserve to get the recognition to interview for a job like Chelsea. However, Chelsea need to make sure that the next appointment is correct. I think Chelsea need to ensure that the next appointment is the one that flourishes and the one that is given time. Pochettino should have been given time. However, Pochettino has earned himself the sack, and I've explained those reasons on multiple occasions. These managers have to show continuous progression. I'm not saying take Chelsea from 11th to 1st in one season. I'm saying take Chelsea from 11th to a style of play fighting for top 4. I'm saying do what Danny Ainge has done. Like, do what Ainge Postecoglou has done. Do what Ainge Postecoglou has done. Or do what De Zerbi did at Brighton. Take him to the next level. Give them something to believe in. Give us something to just grab hold, both managers, and say, this is our gaffer. We're going to trust him. Because once you do that, you've got the backing of the fans. You're going to have less pressure. And there won't be this expectation of, oh my God, we don't know what we're doing. But this was the Kavkas View. I hope you lot enjoyed it. It's a little bit of a long one, but you lot like it when I chat my shit. So I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Peace out. I'm out. Have a lovely day.